Hello everybody. This video is about the discussion board assignments. So as I mentioned in the introduction, you can locate these on Brightspace, select the Assessments tab, and then you'll see discussion from the drop-down list. So the responses are due Sunday, but you need to have your own response posted by Thursday because everybody is supposed to have enough time to respond to at least one other person's posting. If you wait till Sunday afternoon to do your original post, your own posting, there's not enough time really for people to review it and provide a really good response. So you might be wondering, well, why are discussion boards important? Well, first of all, it gives you an opportunity to interact with other students and learn from each other because, two people can look at the same topic and have entirely different viewpoints on it. So it's really important to hear different perspectives other than what you think, and it kind of helps you think more critically. So that's a key part, is developing critical thinking skills. In other words, there's kind of like two sides to every story. So that's kind of what we're doing with discussion boards, is helping expand your critical thinking. And it also gives you an opportunity to demonstrate your understanding of the topic. So in case you missed this on the introductory video, the discussion boards, there's 5, they're worth 10% each, and the breakdown is 6% for the quality of the response, 2% response to at least one other student, and 2% for grammar, spelling, sentence structure, etc. So it's important you write these in a formal business writing style. Don't write in a casual conversational style. Just because they're discussion boards, it doesn't mean they can be casual. We're expecting the same qualities if you were writing a paper. And just as a little hint here, it's a good idea to prepare your response in Word before you post it, so that way you can do a spell check and grammar check on it before you post it. So in terms of preparing for the discussion board post, read the module material. Make sure you read the discussion questions very carefully. Make sure you understand exactly what it is you're being asked to do. And don't just copy information from the module materials, but the idea here is to think critically and engage with the material. And you need to have a read through other students' posts who've posted before you to make sure you're not totally duplicating something they're saying. And it's important to make a strong or a unique opinion or argument or perspective to add value to the discussion. So ensure your response is relevant. So you don't have to use any external sources for this. You could just use the material that's provided in the readings. And that's really what I want you to do, is use the readings and the videos that are in the course material. So no external research required. And in fact, you can use it, but you still have to include the readings and the videos in your response. So in terms of referencing materials, regardless of which article or video you're using, you do need to include a reference. So any material that's not your own, any ideas that are not your own, they have to include a reference. And this includes AI. So if you're, going along with artificial intelligence and posting your questions through ChatGPT or whatever you're using, I'm not saying not to use it, but what I do want you to do in the reference section, if you've used a ChatGPT, make sure you include the questions that you posed when you're doing that. And also check the validity of AI, because there are often errors, particularly with respect to co-ops, because there's not a lot of material out there on cooperatives. So you have to be careful that what you are quoting is actually accurate. So the safest thing to do, what I'm expecting you to do, is use the materials that I've provided. That way you don't get into this sort of issue. So I mentioned that you're expected to respond to at least one other person's post. So the idea with responding to another person's post is not just to say, oh, I agree, great post. It's got to be more substantial than that. So you have some options. You can say, yes, I agree, and then share some experience or state how it relates to the course material or to the initial post. You can agree or disagree with what somebody has posted, and then but explain why. And it's always important to be, respectful when you disagree. But it's important, if you do disagree, to, give your perspective. That's the whole point of it, is to bring out differing perspectives. You have the option as well, you can expand on your classmate's post to demonstrate you understand the topic. Critically evaluate the post and make a suggestion. You can share an insight or something you've learned from reading your peers' post. Explain how someone's post helped you understand the material or rethink your own views. Offer an opinion, but support it with examples. And, if back to sort of the agree, disagree scenario, again, it's fine to challenge a statement in the post if it's appropriate. Okay, so now we're going to review the instructions for the discussion boards, and the instructions are the same for all of the discussion board assignments. So it will tell you, please participate in the discussion board by adding your response to the question. Review the lecture notes and readings before participating. If other students have responded before you, read their responses and build from there, avoid duplication. Your references should be formatted in the APA referencing style, and there will be, you'll find the information on APA on Brightspace in the introduction folder. So your discussion board participation requires you to both post your own response and then respond directly to at least one of your peers' posts. And your initial response should be a minimum of 400 words to a maximum of 500. I'm really, I guess, trying to make sure you understand the importance of making every word count, which is why I've capped it at 500, because sometimes we can repeat ourselves a little bit. So in today's business communication style, it's important to be brief and to the point. So your references are excluded from the word count, as is your response to another student's post. So the 400 to 500 word account, that applies to only your own response. And that concludes the information on the discussion boards.